Time now to go out to the movies, and Las Vegas weekly film editor Josh Bell joins me now. Welcome, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
So we're talking here about the latest version of King Kong.
Yes.
To me, from what I see, it looks sort of grittier. It looks kind of cool.
It is a little gritty. It is pretty cool. It's set in the 1970s, sort of at the tail end of the Vietnam War. So it's an interesting, different era. It's not in the 1930s of the original movie as well as the 2005 remake, but it's not in the present day either. So it has a bit of historical resonance, and it's called Kong Skull Island.
Skull Island.
Because it takes place entirely on this island where King Kong lives and all these other crazy monsters live, and this entire team of scientists and soldiers and opportunists all descend on this island to find King Kong and to explore this mysterious, uncharted world. And
now, in listening to the actors and directors sort of promote this movie, they keep saying that it kind of, holds true to this sort of traditional story, but it's not the same old story. Is that true?
That it's not the same story.
Okay.
Unlike the other versions of King Kong that you've seen, we never leave that island once we get there. So there's no climbing the Empire State Building. There's no King Kong back in New York City. It's almost like a Jurassic Park kind of movie. As you just watch one by one these characters get picked off by King Kong, who's much bigger than he's been in the previous movies, as well as all these other crazy monsters that King Kong himself eventually fights against. And the action and the special effects are very impressive in this movie. I think they get all these really talented actors. You've got Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, John Goodman, who don't have a lot to do other than stand and kind of gawk and say, oh my God, it's a giant ape. So that's a bit of a letdown in terms of story, but as far as action goes, this movie I think is successful, and it's also setting up this monster universe where King Kong is going to fight Godzilla.
Ooh, I like that.
So stay around after the credits for that connection.
So I got to ask, as a dad, is this violent? Can you take your kids, teenage kids? Where are we at with this?
I wouldn't take little kids to this. I mean, it's PG-13. I think teenagers are fine with it. It's definitely violent. If you don't want to have your children see King Kong smushing people with his giant foot, then you probably don't want to take them to this. But it's relatively light as far as action movies go. Again, it's kind of big and dumb and silly, but it's mostly entertaining. So I think it's a good one for a pretty wide audience.
So I'm going to say you liked it.
I did like it. Yeah, all things considered, it has its weak points, especially the acting or the characters. But overall, it's a fun movie to watch if you're just looking for an escapist time at the movies.
All right, Josh Bell, Las Vegas weekly film editor. Thank you as always for your time and input.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be right back.